Hello everybody and welcome back to the breakdown. I'm Tone and it's fantastic to have you here with me once again. Today is a very exciting time for me today. Something that I've been working on for quite a long time. I've mentioned nothing much about it, just that there's a project that I'm working on. I've mentioned it on this channel a few times, but finally it's underway. We've got it started. And so before I get into it, I just wanted to point out that for some reason, when we share the truth, there are people that do get offended by these types of things. And so, just as a warning to anyone out there that might be watching this and is susceptible to being offended by things very easily, I point you to one of my first videos, maybe the second or the third video that I did on this channel about how to deal with things if you are offended. Please go and check that video out because I'm not going to cover that here. I don't need to cover that here. So go watch that video. Hopefully that'll clear anything up about what I think about being and getting offended. So now that we've got that covered and that's been said, let's get on to the content of what this video is all about. Now, yesterday I posted on my social media, so if any of you saw on my social media, I posted an image on there and I asked a question of which of these two numbers is this number? And it was a sideways 9 or a sideways 6 that I showed. And I asked, what number is it? Based on the information I've given you, what number is it? Now, I got some interesting answers and I'm really, really thankful for those. Thank you so much for participating in that. But put simply, I want to share that based on the information that I provided, it was impossible to decide which of those it was. It could be either one of those. And I'm going to get to a point about that. So, a couple of years ago, I was at a youth camp. I was doing some leadership work on a youth camp. And the talk used this as an illustration. 2 volunteers were called up to stand facing each other, and the leader, the one that was doing the talk, placed a number down between them and then asked them one after the other what number they saw from their perspective. And of course, one said it was a 9 and one said it was a 6. The point of the message was, we're not to judge other people based on their perspective, right? And as far as that goes, that's correct. We're not supposed to judge people because, judge, therefore you shall be judged. I mean, that makes sense. We're not supposed to judge people. But that didn't sit okay with me in terms of the overall picture that it paints, because it doesn't go into a deep enough detail to really hone in on, like, what happens is people's perspectives can become more than just a perspective. It becomes an opinion, and the opinion then for some people becomes a fact, right? So we have to be very careful about understanding how we judge things. Now, we're supposed to judge people. We're not supposed to judge people, but judging things is very important. And so my point then was, okay, we're not supposed to judge a person's perspective. Like, we're not supposed to judge a person based on their perspective. That's not going to help anybody. But it didn't sit well with me because it's not enough. Because while we can't or shouldn't judge people based on their perspective, we certainly can judge their perspective, and we should. If we don't, it sets a very dangerous precedent, because opinions, as I've already shared in previous videos on this channel, opinions are only valuable when they're based in fact, and if they're not based in fact, then they're merely just a perspective that makes someone feel better, feel more comfortable. But it's not truth, right? And the truth of the matter is the most important thing. Otherwise, there's really no value to it. And that's where I started to think, okay, how can I design something that gets this point across? And so I guess then the next point is to bring along my example and this whole project thing that I've put together. So let's have a look at this. Okay, so now for the illustration of what I mean, what we've just been talking about. So let's start off with a humble coffee cup. Now, we already obviously know, we've got an advantage with a coffee cup. We already know what it's for. We already know what it's designed for. But we can use this as an illustration of what I mean. So let's start off with that. So we'll just put that here. And we will bring across this tray here. Now we'll place the cup down like so. Okay. Now we know that if we put the coffee cup up like this, it really doesn't, it's not really going to be able to do much for what it's designed for. Now, we can see that it holds a little bit of liquid, but a little bit too much, and as you can see, it doesn't really live up to its full potential. Now, we already know why, of course. I'm talking about cases where sometimes we don't really know. We have to investigate a little bit further. But for this case, obviously, it doesn't work like that. So if we turn it up the other way, now obviously we know that coffee cups are for holding liquid this way. Okay, and in this illustration, I'm talking about the importance of understanding the truth about design. Okay, everything has a design. Everything has a truth to it, right? There's a lot of lies, but there's really only truth from one perspective in anything. In any example, there's truth, and then there's a whole bunch of lies, right? Now, we know that a coffee cup is designed in this way to hold liquid in this way. And by doing so, by doing things the way they are designed, if you can start to see it happening now. If we turn it around, we've got a message written on the side there. Let's just skip that for a moment. Let's keep turning it around. And there we see we've got a 9. And hopefully that shows up nice and clear on the camera. Let's bring it a little bit closer. See, yeah, no, that shows up nice and clear. And there's a 6 on this side here. So, in this case, when we use this object for its intended purpose, we have a clear idea that obviously up the right way we've got a 6, and up the right way we've got a 9. Okay, so this illustration is obviously a very simplified one, but that's as simple as it really needs to be, because you can clearly see that while the shape is the same, exact same design, but one's a 9 and one's a 6. And it becomes clearer, obviously, when we use the object for its intended purpose. By design, we use it by design. The truth actually becomes a lot clearer when we live with the truth, right? But let's delve a little bit deeper now, and we'll have a look at the design of the 9. And if you can see quite closely there, we've got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, a purple, and a violet colour. Right? Now, if I was to ask you the question, how many colours do you understand there is in the rainbow? I hope your answer would be 7 colours. Now, that's what we know from the colours of the rainbow. There are 7 colours. And so the 9, obviously based on this, we're going to say signifies what is true about the rainbow. The rainbow, the true rainbow, is 7 colours. And so let's designate the 9 to signify something that is true. And on this side here, we've got a 6. And it's a little bit difficult to see. How many colours do we have there? On the 6, we have 6 colours. We've got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Now, we know, based on what we were just talking about with the 9, we know that the 6 colours of, a rainbow with 6 colours is missing an element. It's missing one colour. And we know that the truth about the rainbow is it has 7 colours, but this one's only got 6 colours. So the 6 with 6 colours. So we can designate the 6 as untruth or a lie. Now, obviously, when we have the cup up the right way, the 9 is up the right way, and clearly we know it's a 9. And the 6 is clearly a 6, and we know that because it's got 6 colours and it's up the way, up this way. So obviously that's a 6. Now, we know that because the 9 is up the right way, the 6 is up the right way, and the cup can be used for its intended purpose. And we already showed, before we revealed the full truth of the matter, we already proved that the cup was useless, next to useless, for its intended purpose when it was upside down. Right? So if we decided for a moment that we wanted to say, let's just pour this water out. We wanted to say that in actual fact, the lie is a truth. We want to say that the 6 is a 9, and that the 9 is a 6. Well, we already proved it, but look, it's clearly not the case, because we're not getting any value out of it, trying to pour any water in there. It can't do it. So this should be a pretty good example then that obviously it doesn't matter which perspective I want to take, the cup's useless unless it's being used for its intended purpose properly. And we also know, if we flip it upside down, that that's an upside down rainbow, because we know that red is on the top of a rainbow. And we also know that this is upside down, because even though it's a lie, the red is at the bottom. The only way we can look at this in a true light is if we have it up this way. And it's very, very, very important, because the point I'm trying to make here is our perspective and our opinions, they only have value if we are looking at them with facts in mind. If we're using facts for our opinions, then that's great. That it has full value. But if we're looking at this and we're trying to pass it off as the truth and tipping it upside down, clearly it's not the truth. It's not, and there's no way we can argue that it is. And the message on the side here, if I can get it to reveal, just heat it up a little bit again, because this is a heat activated cup, if you hadn't already guessed. It's not real easy to see now, unfortunately. It seems to have gone dark. But the message on here says a 6, in brackets, a lie, will never be the truth. Or never be the 9, and then in brackets, truth. So we're using a 9 to mean truth, and it's truth because here we go, we've got 7 colours of the rainbow, which a rainbow has 7 colours, and a 6 designated as a lie. There you go, it has 6 colours. So a 6 will never be the 9. A lie, or any lie, will never be the truth. Okay, that's the point of this. So that's really all I wanted to share about. I want to perhaps go into a little bit extra detail. But yeah, this is just the example that I wanted to bring. Hopefully that makes sense. This rule, or this idea, this whole concept applies to everything in life. It doesn't just apply to this coffee cup. But unfortunately, we live in a world right now, increasingly so, where this idea gets a little bit lost. Now, at the beginning of this video, I did warn about this video possibly being offensive to some people, and I make no apology for it being offensive. I do feel sorry if people are offended. But truth is truth, and we need to respect that. We need to understand that in every aspect of our lives. And there is a reason why I chose a 7-colour rainbow and a 6-colour rainbow to match in with the 6 and the 9, right? The reason is because the rainbow, which, as Christians understand, is a promise from God, a very, very important promise that speaks directly to punishment, or the way that God deals with people, or did deal with people in the past. It's specifically a symbol leading, connected to that. But we also know of another rainbow, the 6-colour rainbow, which is used to mean something completely different. The concept of the rainbow has been hijacked to mean something that it was never intended to mean. It is used as a symbol, as a flag, in many different ways. But specifically, it is used to mean something very, very, very different from what it was actually intended to mean previously. But they haven't used it the same, the exact same one. There's a reason why they haven't left 7 colors, because 7 being the perfect number, being the holy number, and 6, well, 3 sixes, obviously signifying something very, very sinister in comparison. So it was very important for me to factor that into this, because it is a huge lie that is perpetuated, and it uses a hijacked, adulterated version of a true object or a true phenomenon that we see every time it rains and the sun comes out. A promise has been hijacked and used, or a sign of a promise has been hijacked and used to signify something completely abhorrent to God. So that was something that I factored into this, and I understand that that's going to be met with varying degrees of anger and frustration and just whatever comes from it. I mean, this is not intended to be anything against people. As I said at the start of this video, we are not supposed to, and we are certainly not obliged to, attack people, and we're certainly not obliged to judge them. But we are obliged to, it is our responsibility to judge opinions, to judge what are facts and what are just opinions and what are just ideologies with no basis. That is what we are supposed to do. And that is this illustration here. I've used this as an illustration to show that after discussion, after getting down to what is really true about a matter, we can work out which it is. Is it a 9 or is it a 6? At the first get-go, we don't know. And we have to talk things out. We have to research things. We have to really get to understand what is factual. And after we do, we will be able to know whether it's a 9, whether it's a 6, whether it's the truth or whether it's a lie. And that's super, super important, especially in this day and age. A 9 can never be a 6, and a 6 can never be a 9, right? The truth is always the truth, and a lie can never, ever be the truth. And it is very, very important that we understand that. And that is the whole point to this concept idea. So if I just show you, finally, hopefully it's clear, a 6 will never be the 9. A lie will never be the truth. Now, I hope that that is clear. I hope that that is something that you can take something from. I offer this and I share this with just utmost care and love for all of you that watched this video, and for anyone that you share this video with. We have to keep ourselves grounded in what is true. And until we know what is true, we need to be open and listening and learning and getting to the point. But once we do know the truth, once we do know the way we are designed, or the way something is designed, then we can use the object to its greatest potential, or we get to reach our greatest potential. I'm Tone. Thank you for joining me once again on the breakdown. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and please share the video. And we'll see you in the next videos. Bye for now.